His eyes were hollow, empty like a dead man's, and his hands clutched that strange, broken bone. When I found him in the forest, I knew, whatever he had seen, whatever promise he had chased, had left him lost forever. Kaleb was just a poor boy from our village, a quiet soul, kind but strange, always off by himself. No one thought much of him, but I knew him well. He worked hard and never asked for more than his share. One day, he got chosen to help at the royal palace, fixing walls and doing simple repairs. That's where he first saw her, the queen. From the moment he laid eyes on her, it was as if he'd been struck by lightning. He couldn't stop talking about her beauty, her grace, and, strangely, the way she'd look at him, like there was no one else in the world but him. We all told him to be careful, to keep his head down. A poor boy from our village had no business dreaming about a queen, but Kaleb wouldn't listen. He said her eyes held secrets, that when she looked at him, she saw something even he couldn't see. Soon, he was sneaking off every chance he got, lingering around the palace, hoping to catch just a glimpse of her. And the strange thing was, it seemed she noticed him too. He would tell us about her soft, secret smile, the way she would glance at him, almost like a promise. Then, one stormy night, he didn't come back to the village. The sky was filled with lightning, and thunder crashed like a great beast roaring in the dark. The rain poured down so hard it felt like the world would wash away. By morning, I found him sitting outside our door, soaked and shivering, his clothes muddy, his hands caked with something dark, like red clay. I asked what had happened, but he only looked at me, his eyes strange, like he was looking right through me. Kaleb spoke in a low, haunted voice. He told me the queen had called him to her private chambers, a place only for those she trusted. She had whispered to him, her voice soft but sounding almost unnatural, deep and old, like something coming from the earth itself. She had asked him, "Do you truly love me, Kaleb?" And he had told her yes, without a second thought. She smiled then, he said, but it was a strange, twisted smile, one that didn't reach her eyes. Then, she handed him a bone. He said it was unlike anything he had ever seen, smooth, dark, and oddly warm, as if it were alive. It pulsed in his hand, like it had a heartbeat. "If you want to be with me," she told him, "you must break this bone." He tried with all his strength, but the bone wouldn't break. She only watched him, that strange smile never leaving her face, and she told him to return the next night to try again. "Each night," she said, "come back, and try until it breaks." Each night after that, Kaleb would go back to her, and every morning he would return more distant, his face pale, his eyes darker, as if something was slowly draining him. He stopped eating, and he barely slept. When he did, he'd mutter to himself, talking in his sleep, saying strange things, calling out her name, whispering words I couldn't understand. He told me he felt like he was under a spell, like the bone she gave him was part of him now. But he wouldn't stop. He said she had promised to make him a king, to take him away from his poor life, if he could just break the bone. Days turned into weeks, and Kaleb was barely himself anymore. He walked like he was in a trance, his eyes fixed on something far away. I tried to pull him back, to talk some sense into him, but he'd just look at me with that hollow, empty stare. "She's waiting for me," he'd say, "and I'm close, so close." Then, one night, he didn't come back at all. The village searched for him, but he was nowhere to be found. The palace guards wouldn't let us near the queen's chambers, and no one in the palace would speak of him. Days passed, and we began to fear the worst. A week later, some hunters found him deep in the forest, lying under an old, twisted tree. He was cold, lifeless, his body curled around something in his hands. When they brought him back to the village, we saw what he was clutching, the same bone he had tried to break, now snapped clean in two. His fingers were wrapped tightly around each piece, gripping them so hard that they couldn't pry them from his hands. His eyes were wide open, filled with a look of terror that sent chills down my spine. After that, no one spoke of Kaleb again. The queen stopped calling for workers from our village, and no one dared go near her. Her chambers stayed quiet, and some said the air around them was cold, even in the hottest days of summer. And though the village went on as if nothing had happened, there was a shadow over us that hadn't been there before. Sometimes, on stormy nights, when the wind howls through the trees, I swear I can still hear him. It's like a faint whisper, calling out, asking if the promise he chased was worth the price he paid. I hear him calling my name, as if he's somewhere just out of reach, lost and searching for something he can never find. I know no one else hears it, and maybe it's all in my mind. But I can't shake the feeling that Kaleb's soul is still out there, trapped between this world and whatever lies beyond. And that bone, that strange, pulsing bone, I sometimes dream of it, feeling its weight, the strange warmth, as if it were alive, calling to me. That's a voice, and a story I'll carry with me forever, and I'll never share it with anyone here. What you guys think? What happened with Kaleb? Share your opinion in the comment section and give this video a like and subscribe our channel Mythic Folktales for more videos like this.